Imagine being 40 years old, quitting your job, changing careers, moving to a new city, starting again from zero. For many people around the world, this sounds terrifying. It feels like failure, like going backward, like admitting you messed up. But in the United States, this story is surprisingly common. People restart their lives at 30, at 40, even at 60. They change careers, go back to school, start new businesses, end relationships, and begin again without shame. So why? Why aren't Americans afraid to start over? Why doesn't starting again feel like failure to them? And what does this mindset reveal about American culture, success, and identity? Let's explain why. In many cultures, failure sticks to you. If you fail once, people remember. If you fail twice, they judge. If you fail publicly, your reputation may never recover. Failure becomes a label. But in American culture, failure is often treated very differently. In the U.S., failure is usually seen as a phase, a lesson, a data point, not a permanent identity. There's a common belief that if it didn't work, try something else. From a young age, Americans are taught that mistakes are part of growth. Children are encouraged to try, experiment, fall, get back up, not to be perfect. In schools, teachers often say, "It's okay. Try again." In sports, losing a game doesn't mean you quit forever. You train harder. You come back next season. Over time, this creates a deep psychological pattern. Failure does not end the story. So when Americans face a dead end, a bad job, a broken relationship, a failed business, starting over feels like a natural next chapter, not a personal disaster. In many societies, identity is fixed early. You are your major, your job title, your family role, your age. Changing direction can feel like betraying who you're supposed to be. But in the U.S., identity is more fluid. Americans often define themselves by who they are becoming, not who they used to be. Someone might say, "I used to be an engineer. Now I'm a writer." And no one panics. There's no assumption that your first choice must be your final one. This flexibility comes from a core belief. You are allowed to reinvent yourself. Because identity is not locked, restarting doesn't feel like losing yourself. It feels like updating yourself. Another key reason Americans aren't afraid to start over is how they view life itself. Life is often treated like an experiment. You test something. You observe results. If it works, you continue. If it doesn't, you adjust. This mindset shows up everywhere: careers, relationships, businesses, lifestyles. A job is not a lifelong promise. It's a trial. A city is not destiny. It's a phase. A relationship ending doesn't mean life failed. It means the experiment concluded. When life is viewed this way, starting over isn't dramatic. It's logical. Why stay in a situation that clearly doesn't work, just to avoid change? From this perspective, not starting over would be the real mistake. In many cultures, age sets invisible limits. By a certain age, you're expected to settle, stop experimenting, accept less. Starting over later in life can feel embarrassing or irresponsible. But in the U.S., age matters far less. You'll see 30-year-olds changing careers, 40-year-olds starting businesses, 50-year-olds returning to university. And it's not unusual. American culture strongly emphasizes ability over age. What matters more is what you can do, what you're willing to learn, how much effort you put in. This creates freedom. When age doesn't trap you, restarting doesn't feel too late. It just feels like timing. One of the deepest reasons Americans aren't afraid to start over lies in how self-worth is built. In many societies, self-worth comes from social approval, status, comparison. Starting over threatens those things. But Americans are often taught that self-worth is internal. You are valuable because you exist, you try, you choose. Not because everyone approves. This doesn't mean Americans don't care about success. They do. But failure doesn't automatically destroy their sense of worth. So when starting over leads to temporary instability, lower status, uncertainty, it doesn't feel like personal collapse. It feels uncomfortable, but acceptable. Starting over always involves risk, uncertainty, fear. No guarantees, but in American culture, risk is normal. From early on, people are exposed to competition, uncertainty, independence, college choices, career paths, moving cities. Risk is part of the system. So when Americans face the idea of restarting, their instinct isn't, what if everything goes wrong? It's, what if this works better? This doesn't mean fear disappears. It means fear doesn't control the decision. Finally, American systems themselves allow, and sometimes reward, restarting. You can change majors, change careers, file bankruptcy and try again, fail publicly and rebuild. Second chances are structurally possible. And when society makes restarting possible, people psychologically accept it. If the door exists, people walk through it. So why aren't Americans afraid to start over? Because to them, failure is temporary. Identity is flexible. Life is experimental. Age is not a limit. Self-worth is internal. Risk is normal. Second chances exist. Starting over doesn't mean you lost. It means you learned. It means you adjusted. It means you chose growth over comfort. And maybe that's the biggest lesson of all. Sometimes starting over isn't the end of the story. It's the moment the real story begins.